international standards.
My Lords, I rise to particularly support Amendment 20 in the name of my noble friend Lord Canon, but more generally 26 in the name of Lord Lilly, who I know isn't in his place, 38B and 78. Now, this group is important because it seeks to remedy the way in which the bill will not only make the Chagossians stateless, but will prejudice their ability to financially provide for themselves and their families for today and tomorrow. Now, last month, I travelled to Hamburg on business, and at dinner was sat next door but one to a gentleman who was involved in business in quite a substantial way in Mauritius. It didn't take long for my German colleagues to explain to him that I sat in your lordship's house, upon which he leant over and implored me, no, begged me, to do that deal with Diego Garcia, so, in his words, so that our streets can be paved with gold. His exact words. And that comment, only just a few weeks ago, gets to the heart of this, because the effect of this bill does nothing to advance the interests of Diego Garcia or the Chagossians. It's certainly not about advancing the British interest. No, it sacrifices the rights of Chagossians whilst harming our own national security that flows both from Cyprus and Diego Garcia in combination, both of which bookend the Suez Canal and underpin our ability to trade globally and generate wealth in our islands. My Lords, Mauritius has never had a claim on the Chagos. They are the same distance apart as we are to Gibraltar. They are only coupled together on the basis they were sort of generally in the same direction, and the 19th century desk clerk in the Foreign Office might as well deal with them both together. That's the truth. And this bill confects a link between the two places, and by advancing the self-interest of Mauritius over those of our own nation and those of our subjects in the British overseas Indian territories, we see in sharp relief the cowardice of a Prime Minister who won't or can't stand up to his chums in the legal profession, who think it's a rather good idea to pay to give up land and then ask permission from our enemies to use it, having been kidded that international law requires it, from a case in which the UK was not even a participant, citing approval from maritime and marine bodies that have no nexus over our sovereignty and have no business pushing us around. And I thank the Library for pointing out so clearly that the legal basis for giving up the Chagos is not a judgment but an advisory opinion. The government is playing by absurd rules that belie logic or common sense and aren't even rules anyway. So this deal is all about Mauritius, in an arrangement where we're going to pay billions to give away our land so we can pay off their debts and to pave their streets with gold, when we don't even have enough money to pay our pensioners their winter fuel allowance. It beggars belief. And even at this stage, these amendments try to put lipstick on the pig, a reference to the domestic pigs that formerly roamed freely on the islands of the Chagos archipelago before that base was established. Because after 200 years of protection, the British Indian Ocean Territory will be ceded alongside limiting citizen rights of the Chagossians to a country in bed with our enemies. It's down to us to at least to ensure that the trust fund is going to be used to benefit all Chagossians, to ensure that the Chagossians have a say in how it's spent to benefit our former subjects, and to ensure that the Chagossians and their issue aren't just eligible to be employed on the base on an equitable basis, but also they have preference for employment, for them to play a role in protecting their ancestral homes, in the hope that one day it may be returned to them. Now, this short debate is named for the trust fund, but when we talk about the trust that the British people have placed in this government to do the right thing, has been unnecessarily and inexplicably squandered and abused. Back in June, the noble Lady Liddell told your lordships that this was a good deal for the Mauritians, who are truly getting something for nothing and being paid for the privilege. But being good for the Mauritians isn't the test. The question is whether it's a good deal for the Chagossians, and whether this bill that weakens both them and us can at least safeguard an endowment that will be used for its intended purpose with the control and consent of those who will benefit from it. My lords, to govern is to choose, and the Prime Minister has made a choice to stand with his learned North London Prosecco wing drinking friends against the wishes of his plain-talking pie and pint caucus in his wider party and the wider interests of the British people and our kinsmen on the Chagos. This is a bad bill and we should fight it as hard as we can.
Hear, hear.